Death. It's touched all of our lives in some way. From losing family members to the passing of those we admire in the public eye, to the death of our innocence when drunk Uncle Toby recalls what he did in the war. Video games love to chuck in a death here and there to spice up the narrative or to give us instant hate juice for the person behind them. And a fair few of these moments will leave you yelling at your friends, "There's just something in my eye, I'm not crying, you're crying!" Now recently I did a video on heart-wrenching moments in gaming, which you should totally check out by the way. So none of those deaths I included on that list are gonna make it in here. So no Soap, no Lee, no Master, no Mass Effect. You won't see an aggro on here, and I hope I don't see any aggro from you lot either. With this in mind, I'm the Southwest Savage Jules from WhatCulture.com here with a list of the 10 most tragic deaths in video games. Number 10. Emile, Valiant Hearts. Valiant Hearts is a surprisingly poignant puzzle-adventure game based on World War I. It chronicles the intertwining stories of 4 characters, one of which is a French farmer named Emile who spends the war searching for his son-in-law. When told to charge into certain death by a superior officer, Emile strikes him with a shovel, accidentally killing him in the process. He's charged with treason and sentenced to death by firing squad. Not exactly the vibe you think you're gonna get from such a cartoony and colourful-looking game. Emile is undeniably a good man, a man willing to go to extreme lengths to save his loved ones. And yet despite this, he's still killed at the hands of his own countrymen. Number 9. Roman Bellic, Grand Theft Auto 4. The 4th installment of the Grand Theft Auto series is by far the most grim entry in the franchise. While protagonist Niko Bellic carried most of the angst on his shoulders, his cousin Roman was foolishly optimistic, always looking on the bright side of things, albeit while acting like one of the most annoying bowling fanatics in existence. Still, he actually does end up being part of his own great American dream. He has his family, some money, a collection of loud shirts, and a woman who loves him. Yet, as this is GTA and the whole deal is, usurping such moments of happiness, he's tragically gunned down at his wedding, leaving Niko alone, and let's face it, even more pissed off. Number 8. Cortana, Halo 4. Now see, this was a toss-up between Cortana and the ending of Halo Reach, so consider The Last Stand of Noble Six as my honorary alternative pick. Now, the Halo games aren't particularly well known for being tearjerkers, as they're more concentrated with adrenaline-pumping action over emotional storytelling. As such, this made Cortana's death at the end of Halo 4 an unexpected sucker punch to the heart. Master Chief and Cortana have been partners for 4 games, and thus the dynamics of their relationship were firmly established by this point. They are undoubtedly one of the greatest gaming couples, so seeing them ripped apart was genuinely effective, especially because it gave gamers a rare glimpse inside the heart that lies behind Master Chief's trademark armor. Number 7. Jenny, The Darkness. The Darkness is an underrated little gem of a game, and anyone who's played it will tell you that one of the most unforgettable moments is the death of Jackie's girlfriend, Jenny. Restrained by the darkness, you're forced to helplessly watch as Jackie's childhood sweetheart is murdered right in front of you. The Darkness is, as the title suggests, a pretty dark game, and Jenny was the only bit of light in the story. She's so sweet and innocent, as is her relationship with Jackie, which is quickly and firmly established early on in the game, and is aided by stellar voice acting and little twists like being able to watch the entirety of To Kill a Mockingbird with her. It doesn't take long to get invested in the story, so when she's taken away in brutal fashion, you feel it. You feel sad. And then the sadness turns to anger, which provides great motivation to keep playing so as to see Jackie get his sweet revenge. Number 6. Eli Brandt's Half-Life 2 Episode 2. Not many video game deaths strike as hard as that of Eli Brandt in Episode 2. A major character in the Half-Life series, he develops into a father figure for Gordon Freeman throughout Half-Life 2 and the preceding episodes. This relationship is aided by the blossoming partnership between Freeman and his daughter Alex. Perhaps the worst part about this death is its cliffhanger nature, one that despite being nearly 10 years old, still hasn't been resolved. As such, it continues to remain the final moment of the Half-Life series, and that is a pretty hard thing to swallow. Number 5. Isara, Valkyria Chronicles. Valkyria Chronicles is a beautiful yet brutal game which mixes a turn-based strategy system with the thinly veiled events of World War II. While the graphics belie a fantasy tale, the game deals with tough subjects at every turn. With the deaths of civilians, the horrors of wars, and the persecution of one of the in-game world races, Isara, adopted sister of lead character Welkin, is one of these oppressed people, even having members of Welkin's team resent her for being in their ranks. However, as she assists the group and offers her mechanical expertise, she becomes an essential member. Unfortunately, Isara is gunned down just as Rosie, one of the more vocal about her dislike of the Darson, is apologising for her behaviour. Not only is the death of his sister a huge loss for Welkin, but her calming personality and vibrant outlook on life despite the war around them is something that is felt deeply until the end of the game. Number 4. Dominic Santiago, Gears of War 3. Now, a lot of people had a crack at me for not including Dom I'm a tin of spam Santiago's death on the heart-wrenching moments list. Well, here's your chance to cry for the chin-strapped steroidal soldier, as his death in Gears 3 was truly moving. Having accompanied Marcus through thick and thin across 3 titles, it's really touching to see him sacrifice himself for his friends. As he plows into the Locust Horde, he cries to his wife and slams into a fuel station. Gary Jules' mad world begins to play and the slow-motion destruction begins to unfold. And we, alongside Marcus, take stock of his loss and of the release his death brought him. Number 3. Tidus, Final Fantasy X. Okay, yes, I'm using up my one per franchise of Final Fantasy for Tidus over Aerith. Not because I'm saying that this was better overall than the most iconic death in the franchise, but because I really felt it gets overshadowed. Now, Final Fantasy X was not the most well-received game in the series, and few will be able to sponge the laughing scene from their brains, but you can't say it was all bad. The ending itself was particularly touching, with Yuna rejecting the cycle of Sin's rebirth despite it meaning that Tidus, Auron, and many others would be sent to the far plane. After the many battles with many ultimate forms, Tidus and Yuna share an embrace before he dissipates from their world, leaving her alone but with the confidence to rebuild a world without Sin. Number 2. Klonoa, Door to Phantomile. Okay, so when you look at this game, you're probably not thinking deep emotional endings, but trust me, this cutesy platformer contains final moments that scientists have deemed weep-worthy. Throughout the adventure, Klonoa and his friend Hugh Pow are out to stop a group of thugs from stealing a magical pendant and to rescue a diva from their clutches. You know, so far, so standard platformer. Yet there's a shock twist in the narrative when it's revealed that Hugh Pow is actually a prince and that Klonoa has been given fake memories. That he's not even a native of the world he's trying to save. As such, Hugh Pow says he doesn't belong in this world and that he has to go. What follows is Klonoa trying desperately to stay with his friend while being sucked into an unknown void. Now, while Klonoa is not technically dead as shown in the sequel, he never actually existed in this world in the first place, making this extremely sad and quite touching. And number 1, Booker DeWitt, BioShock Infinite. So you might have noticed that I don't talk much about Infinite, preferring instead to wet my whelk with the waters of the first Undersea Odyssey. In my opinion, and remember it is just that, it's because the first game is, if you'll excuse the pun, infinitely better. That being said, I cannot deny that the ending of Booker DeWitt's life wasn't especially powerful. Throughout the game, we act with a driven purpose to take down the evil and power-hungry Comstock. However, after the in-game reveal that we are Comstock and that Elizabeth is our daughter and we traded her to pay off debts, things take a turn for the brain-melty. Accepting his fate and the damage he's done to so many lives, Booker allows Elizabeth to kill him by drowning. It's a humbling moment that sees many Elizabeths erased from existence and a somber note for the series to end on, especially when you think that the drowning might even be pointless, as with infinite realities there are infinite chances for Booker to do it all again. But let's not dwell on that for now. And that's our list. Got any more passings that we passed over? Well, let us know about them in the comments section below. And if you want to see something really tragic, come follow me on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0. If you enjoyed the video, then like, share, and subscribe for more. As always, I've been Jules, WhatCulture.com, and I'll speak to you soon.